So fewer than 1 in 5 Californians can afford a home in their own state. So people are leaving in way bigger numbers than most folks realize. A lot of them are landing right here, believe it or not, in Minneapolis. Once you see why and where, it's going to make total sense. So let's get into it. Let me start with the problem, because there's really is only one. A typical home in California runs right around $875,000. That's the middle price across the whole state. Only about 18% of folks there can actually afford it. More than 8 out of 10 buyers are priced out of their own state. That is a housing crisis, but it only gets tougher. California is short around 3 million homes, just California itself, depending on who's counting. There's just aren't enough places to live. No quick fix is coming anytime soon. So people are doing the math. A lot of them are frankly deciding to go. When folks leave, they save real money. The team up at UC Berkeley found that movers land in spots where housing runs about $672 less every single month. 7 years later, those same movers are about 48% more likely to own a home. That's compared to similar Californians who stay put. So I'll circle back to the price points a little bit later on. So they're landing somewhere cheaper. They're also building real wealth. Now stick with me, because the next part is where Minneapolis comes in. So why here? Why Minneapolis? Why would someone leave the coast for the cold? Well, let's talk about money. A typical Minneapolis home sits around the mid 300,000s. Compare that to California. We're talking about 60% less. That same big California budget out here, it buys you a really, really nice home. A beautiful place in the suburbs like Eden Prairie or Minnetonka, Lakeville or Woodbury, but I'm getting ahead of myself. More on those later. There's something else, however. Believe it or not, California is one of the top states people are moving here from. The census numbers tracked by the folks at USA Facts show California is the number 2 state sending people to Minnesota, only behind our neighbors to the east, Wisconsin. Then you look at U-Haul. They track where their trucks are actually going. More trucks showing up than most folks would ever guess. Here's what we're seeing firsthand. I've got 5 clients, believe it or not, from California right now that are actively looking in the Twin Cities area and are moving here because they've already found jobs. So one's a pastor, one's a teacher, and then there's a group that are coming in the automotive industry. All of them are landing in the suburbs. These are real people making a real move. A lot of folks ask this: what do Californians think when they actually get here? For the most part, they expect a downgrade. They picture this cold, barren land. They figure they're giving up something. Then they see the lakes. Quite frankly, it flips a switch. What we hear over and over is the same exact line. They live next to the ocean, and this is better. And I'm not making that up. They all say the same thing. The ocean's great to look at. It's typically a little cold, and they can't believe the amount of activity on and around the lakes right here in the greater Twin Cities area. So before I show you what they're seeing, let me say this. If you're one of those folks who is ready to make a move, let me help you. Our team actually knows these neighborhoods and suburbs, so drop your questions in the comments and we'll point you in the exact right direction. The water, it's everywhere. Minnesota has more lake shore than you would ever guess. By one count, we've got more than 44,000 miles of lakeshore. That is way more than the entire shoreline of California. So you need to let that sink in. No pun intended. Then there's Lake Minnetonka. It's the biggest one in the western suburbs. We're talking about 14,500 acres of water with more than 30 bays, lakefront dining, boats everywhere in the summer. Now, let's slide over to jobs. Minnesota is a quiet powerhouse here. We've got 17 Fortune 500 companies headquartered in the state of Minnesota. Big names, real ones. companies like United Health Group, Target, and Best Buy, they all have their headquarters here. So when people move here for work, there's a lot of work to move for. So here's something fun. Minneapolis was recently ranked the 6th fittest city in America. That's the trails, the lakes, and the parks doing their thing. We'll talk more about those in a minute. For now, the honest part, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The summers here, they're some of the best anywhere in the country, in my opinion. May through October, this is one of the best places on the entire planet. Just facts. Get past October, November, well, guess what? All bets are off. Winter is real. It can be cold. It can be long. Nobody's going to pretend that it can't be not great. But here's the trick. If you want to live here in winter, for folks who know what they're signing up for, the trade-off, it's worth it. So that's the deal. 6 incredible months plus a winter you'd better respect. Before we check out the spots they're choosing, one more thing. For a long time, Minnesota was losing people. Year after year, more folks moved out than moved in. That happened for about 6 straight years. Then, 2025 changed everything. For the first time since 2018, more people moved into Minnesota from other states than left. We gained about 8,300 people that way. The first positive number in years. The broader Midwest comeback is a big reason for that swing. So the tide has turned, partly because of folks heading here from the coasts. So where do these California buyers end up? Mostly in the suburbs. Let's hit a few so you get the picture. First up, Eden Prairie. Homes in Eden Prairie generally run from the high 400,000s to the mid 500,000s. It has over 1,000 acres of parkland too. Eden Prairie is one of the top spots California folks look at and end up choosing. Next, Minnetonka. Minnetonka has Lake Minnetonka access that we just talked about. Most homes here sit in the high 400,000s to low 500,000s, and they don't sit long either. Next up is Plymouth. Homes in Plymouth land around 500,000, with single-family homes often running higher. Plymouth is loaded with green space and easy highway access. It's also one of the fastest growing suburbs in the whole metro area. So there you go. 3 suburbs, a little different, all landing spots for people leaving the coasts. Are you sitting in California or any other state right now and doing the math on a move? Well, we'd be happy to help. We know a move like this feels huge from far away, but with the right people by your side, it gets a whole lot simpler. So reach out. Use the form in this description down below, or you can email us at team@hhgus.com. And one more thing. This is part 2 of our California story. The first video covered the bigger migration picture across a bunch of states. I've linked it right here on the screen. So go ahead and check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video and at the next house.